What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Art Channel. Thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe and hit that like button to share this video with your friends. Follow me on Instagram at Andrew Marlowe Artist to see all my paintings and drawings. So today I thought we'd do something a little bit different. I'm going to be showing you how to sort of make your own painting surface out of cardboard and poster board. I know a lot of people, a lot of art stores are closed right now because of the virus and all this crazy stuff. You might be ordering stuff online, or you might not be able to find canvases where you live at all. I've actually never done this, but we're going to be mounting some poster board onto some cardboard. I got some glue that we're going to use. I'm going to show you all the supplies we're going to be using, and then we're going to put some gesso on top of the the poster board. That way you can paint on it. We might end up sanding it. It's going to take a little while for the gesso to dry, but let's just show you the supplies that we're going to be using today, and just sort of have a little fun creative video just to sort of mix things up a little bit. So let's get right to it. So this cardboard actually kind of opens, which is pretty cool because that way we can sort of, adjust it. I might actually open it like that and then just kind of slide this right in here just to see how much space we're going to need. Maybe we'll turn it like this. So something like that should be good, but there's like a little crease, on the other side of this, but we're probably just going to cut the sides right here. Sorry, I gotta make sure I'm filming what I'm talking about. So we're just gonna kind of get a razor blade or something like that, box cutter, what have you, and just kind of cut that to size so it matches the side of the poster board. So let's get right to it. So like I said, we're gonna basically cut this piece of cardboard to size so that it kind of matches the size of this. You could pretty much do it like this or like this, doesn't really matter, but yeah, let's just dive right in here. Be careful when you're using a box cutter. Obviously, I'm just using this a little cheap one. You're not really supposed to cut towards you, so maybe we'll try to set a good example and cut away from me. So let's just kind of see how this works here. Looks like it's cutting fairly well. Doesn't have to be perfect. Maybe cut it one more time. I don't want to slip and cut the poster board, so just a little bad example right here. Cutting towards me real lightly though. You never want see. Okay, so pretty cool. That looks pretty good. We just got to clean it up a little bit, and oops, I did cut the poster board a little bit. Not a big deal. And now we'll turn this around like so. You guys can see that, I hope. Yeah, you can see it. And then just gonna kind of cut. This way a little bit. Just be careful when you're cutting towards yourself, obviously. And yeah, so we've pretty much got there's a little bit of excess poster board here. Let's try to cut this off a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. That's pretty good. We can always clean it up later on, but let's get into the gessoing process because I really love to gesso things. So let's just kind of get right into it. So here's the gesso. It's just pretty much standard Artist Loft. I think that's the brand that Michaels carries, the sort of the store brand that Michaels has. Just plain white gesso. It's really good for putting on canvases or panels, pieces of wood. That way the surface is prepared for painting. Just kind of opens just like this. And it's probably got some type of covering on there, like so. We just take this off, and here's the gesso. It smells pretty good. It smells a lot less toxic. I'll show you what it looks like in a minute, but it smells a lot less toxic than the previous gesso I was using, which is always good. And you will notice that I do have a little container of water here because I like to use a little bit of water with the gesso just to sort of, it just sort of flows through the gesso. If you just use the gesso itself with no water, it's just a little bit stiff. So I do like to add a little bit of water to it. And this is the Elmer's glue paste, rubber cement that we're going to be using to put to sort of fasten the poster board onto the cardboard. So let's just kind of continue this experiment and see how it turns out. Alrighty, so let's go, ladies and gentlemen. I've got my palette knife here. This is a great way to spread the gesso onto the surface, whatever surface it is. I don't recommend doing this on your bed, but it's pretty much the most convenient spot for me at the moment. Maybe next time we'll do it on my art table, but I would have to clean it off. This gesso is very, very fluid, as it typically is when you first get it. It will tend to stiffen up as time goes on, but this is kind of what it looks like now. And we could actually probably just start by pouring some right on here. Now I'm using, that should be good to start with, and I'm using this piece of cardboard, like I said, just so I don't make a mess. And we're using the non-shiny side of the poster board. When you buy a poster board, you'll notice that one side is kind of glossy, kind of shiny. This is the side that's not shiny or glossy. This actually might be all of the gesso that we need. Now I'm just kind of taking the gesso and just kind of spreading it. Maybe I'll zoom in just a tad bit. That should be good. I don't even know if you guys can see the gesso because it's like the same exact color of the poster board. But that's okay. So we're just going to kind of spread this evenly across the surface here. Now this is a pretty large size, you know, it looks like I got a little cat hair there. This is a pretty large size poster board. And that's what I was looking for. I was looking for something nice and large to kind of use. So let's pour a little bit more here. I don't want to overdo it. And we're going to go back and smooth everything out. This is just the first stage, just to kind of get it going. Oh, you know what I should have done, actually? It's okay, I meant to actually glue the poster board onto the, yeah, I meant to, yeah, I kind of messed up the process here, actually. Let's put this over here. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, I got ahead of myself. We're not supposed to be gessoing anything yet. We're supposed to be putting the poster board onto here. Somehow I got ahead of myself. I do apologize. So anyway, we're gonna go right ahead with this Elmer's rubber cement glue and see what we can come up with here. I was so excited to get gessoing that I got ahead of myself. So let's just kind of come in here. This stuff smells really strong, but I've used this before. I really like it. It sticks pretty well. Now I don't know how it's going to go onto these. I don't know how the poster board is going to sort of, you know, stick onto this. I'm not anticipating that it's going to be super lumpy or anything like that, but it might be a little lumpy. I might just actually pour a little bit out like that. But we'll just kind of see what we can come up with. Trying to make it as smooth as possible. I feel like one of the old masters from like the medieval times, the Renaissance, they used to start with like rabbit glue or something on their panels and their canvases for some reason. It was like a binder or something. They would put rabbit glue on it. Man, that stuff is strong. I better open the window. Alright, so I don't want to waste all that gesso that we already used. So let me grab my gloves. These are just some cheap little construction gloves that you can use when you're, you know, handling toxic things. None of this stuff is toxic, but it's just messy. So we're going to use this, you know, because I'm going to have to probably... Alright, so let's just see here. Okay, it looks like that's going on pretty smoothly. But I've got... It's pretty good. Actually, that was probably not the best idea, because now I'm going to have to kind of... Oh well. Hey, it's an art studio, what the heck. But let's just go right into it and just kind of smooth that down. That's not how you're supposed to smooth the gesso. We're just doing this for the sake of just making sure this is nice and tight on the poster board. It's looking a little lumpy. I think that's because of the cardboard, I'm assuming. Let's see if we can't get it to go down a little bit. Look at this. This is so crazy. I don't even know what we're doing anymore. If you guys can see it, but it's got some ridges in it. It's got little ridges in it. It almost looks like when you try to gesso paper, and it gets like those little, look like little mountains that kind of come up, like little ridges. But maybe we can kind of smooth them out here. I don't know. Because I think the glue just kind of has to do its thing. Either that, or maybe it's just not. Yeah, it's very ridgy. That doesn't mean that we can't use it. We probably still could use it. But anyway, that's pretty good. That's probably about as smooth as you're going to be able to get it, I think. We come back and smooth it out. That should be pretty good. And the surface is pretty decent, but it's really lumpy. You can see some ridges and whatnot. That's slightly disappointing, but there's not a whole lot we can do with it, I don't think. We're going to use this really big Bob Ross brush. It's actually not a Bob Ross brush, but it looks like a Bob Ross brush. It's a number 2. We're just going to take my little thing of water here and just kind of lightly put it in there. Just ever so slightly. Just kind of smooth it out, and you'll see how smooth that gesso becomes. That's beautiful. I just splattered it all over the floor, no problem. And the water really helps to kind of just spread it a little bit. And this actually might be kind of a cool surface to paint on, just for like practice or something. I probably wouldn't do like a super finished, polished piece on this because it's, you know, so makeshift. And there's actually, I need to add some more gesso here because I can tell there's not a whole lot on certain places here. I really love gesso. I don't know, there's something so creative and just something so cool about like preparing the surface for future painting. I don't know, it's something I've always liked, but I don't really use gesso a lot because I really have no need for it. The only time I really use gesso, to be honest with you, is when I prepare my sketchbooks for oil paintings, and that's really the only time I ever need for gesso. But you can add like a layer or two of gesso onto your canvases if you buy them, even if they already have gesso on them, or you can buy canvases that are not primed with gesso and put your own gesso on it, or you can prime your own canvas panels. But I kind of like, I'm interested to see what the surface is going to be like painting on this. But you'll see like those giant ridges. But let's kind of wait and see like what it looks like when it dries and whatnot. Maybe the ridges will die down, maybe they won't. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out why it's doing that. I guess that there's just like air pockets in there that won't escape. But I'm trying to figure out how we can get those air pockets to escape. Maybe that kind of worked. I don't know. Let's come back in here with the brush. Smooth that out. Let me get a little bit of water. What's up, guys? So I'm super excited. The second coat of gesso is actually dry, and what we're left with is actually this pretty decent like little makeshift canvas. It's more like a panel because it doesn't have the texture of canvas, but if you actually look at it, it does have a little bit of texture on it. We didn't sand it. It's actually pretty smooth. I don't really feel any need to sand it, but there are still a couple ridges here and there that you can obviously see, and I think that's actually because there was too much glue in there, and now that I can actually press it down, I could actually probably fix those. now that the gesso is dry, you can kind of go back and kind of, and you can see some of the gesso is actually still wet. But anyway, yeah, let's just try to, let's try some paint on this surface just to kind of see what it's like. I'm going to raise this up a little bit, just so that you guys can see what I'm doing a little bit better here. That should be good. I might adjust the lighting a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it looks pretty solid, you know what I mean? It looks like a pretty decent surface. The only problem I'm foreseeing is that the cardboard is slightly bent up here and towards this direction. So it might, you know, warp a little bit or something, but other than that, it's fairly solid. So I'm just going to kind of get out a couple colors, maybe just one color, and just kind of see how the paint sort of takes to this surface. So let's check it out. So we're just going to kind of fool around with a little bit of cobalt teal. It's like a little bluish, almost like a turquoise color, but let's, I'm using a little bit of mineral spirits just to kind of loosen the paint a little bit. Let's see how I look in the shot here. Pretty cool. So let's just kind of test this out. I think I'm just going to do like a little, maybe just like a little makeshift mountain scene here. Just like some little mountains here. Let's just kind of see what the paint kind of looks like. The paint takes fairly well to the poster board. Now there is gesso on it, so it's, you know, when you start getting into thick layers and whatnot, it should take pretty well. Let me zoom this in a little bit more. That should be good. Yeah, let's just kind of see what this kind of looks like. It's pretty cool. The painting surface is good. It's pretty solid. And I think it works. You know, this is a great way, you know, to practice. Like I said, it's probably not the most professional thing to paint on, so I don't recommend doing it for a commission or anything like that. But it is, I mean, I guess you could. It is a pretty decent surface, but it might not travel well because it's kind of flexible and it might get bent. But it's really good practice if you want to just throw something together and paint something on a pretty large scale. I feel like I should zoom back out a little bit. So let's just kind of, let me just get a different color here. Let's just try some Prussian blue just for the heck of it. Prussian blue is like a very, very, very dark blue. So I'm just kind of curious to see how it's going to look on this surface. So let's use like a big Bob Ross brush. I'm actually not going to use any medium for this. I'm just going to kind of like Bob Ross style, just kind of go in with a dry brush. Let's just kind of see how that goes in. That's pretty cool. I really like that. I like how the paint is going on there without any medium also. It kind of gives it sort of like a smoky effect. But yeah, it's a really good surface actually. It's a pretty decent surface to paint on. We'll just kind of feather this out towards the bottom. Not being real serious. I'm just kind of goofing around just to kind of see what, you know, what this surface is like. It's awfully flexible. I should probably adjust my ease a little bit so it's not bouncing around like it is. But let's just kind of take this all the way up to the edges here. Let's add a little bit more Prussian blue. Pretty cool. I like this. really like this. This is actually pretty neat. That's a great thing about gesso, is that you can pretty much paint with anything on gesso. You don't really have to worry about you know, preparing the canvas. I mean, you have to prepare it, or you have to prepare the surface, but you don't have to worry about you know, as long as the gesso is on there, you're pretty much good to go. So I'll tell you what we're going to do next here, guys. I'm just going to kind of fool around a little bit with a light sky color. So we got a little bit of ultramarine blue here with a little bit of titanium white. And titanium white is very strong. If you guys have ever used it, you'll know it's pretty darn strong. So I'm just going to kind of use it sparingly. Just a little sparingly. Just to get kind of a little bit of a sky color. Actually, probably don't quite have enough here, but that's pretty good. It's a nice little sky color. It's going to be kind of like a brutish mountain scene, I guess you could say. Now, I don't like how this is getting bent up there. That's a little better, because it was catching the shadow there. Let me get a little bit more white. So, like I said, we're just kind of goofing around, but I just kind of want to see what this does. Get a little bit more cobalt teal into the mix. Have a little, sort of like a greenish sky. It's going to be just like a little imaginary landscape here. Nice big brush. Just trying to see how this. I might add a little touch of medium just to loosen this paint up a little bit so it slides a little better. See that? Take this right down to the edge on both sides. And it looks like the poster board got pushed back towards the back again, but that's fine. I actually need to adjust my lights. Apologize. That should be a lot better. Yeah, that's much better. Just kind of taking this up to the edge here. And now that we've got most of, I'd probably say at least 60% of, not 60%, probably about 40% of this canvas filled. Let's go ahead and just finish it up here. Just kind of finish the exercise. Just to kind of see how it looks, you know. I like it a lot though. I'm kind of blending this a little bit. A little bit of medium just to kind of push it. I'm just going to kind of leave that a little bit sketchy, kind of like that. So you can definitely see that it's a good surface to paint on, which is really good. I think we're going to come in and maybe we'll just do some, what should we do, brown or green? Let's do like a green. We'll do like a nice dark phthalo green. It's like a really nice dark green. We'll probably end up lightening it a little bit with some white. Maybe. Drop my paint, the top of my painting thing into the solvents. Not a big deal. Anyway, so we've got our phthalo green here, a little bit of titanium white. And the titanium white is just so strong. As you can see, just a little bit of medium, a little bit of paint thinner. And I'm just gonna fill the bottom of this canvas with green. Kind of take this up to here. See how it's very blue because my brush is kind of all mixed in with blue. See how much that's moving around too, which is not ideal. We're just kind of fooling. Just fooling. A bit more medium. Get that paint to slide. Pretty good surface though. I really like it. The gesso left a little bit of texture in there, which is really cool. So a little bit of texture in there. I'm not looking at a reference photo or anything, I'm just totally letting my mind sort of guide me. Get a little bit more green. I only squeeze enough paint out to what I think I'm going to need. I think for the foreground we'll go a little bit darker on the bottom section here. Yeah, that paint thinner, odorless mineral spirits really just helps to get the paint to slide a little bit more. You can see how much better it slides when I use the paint thinner versus when I don't. It's just very stiff without it. And that might be a little better for a canvas because the canvas has kind of like a tooth and the canvas will sort of take the paint that way, but this gessoed cardboard, this gesso poster board doesn't quite have as much tooth, so you have to really spread the paint. I'm just trying to cover up as much of the white as possible, not all of it, but just as much as possible. If I don't get all of it, it's not really a big deal, but just trying to kind of blend some of these areas here. And yeah, just a rough little mountain scene with some grass. You know, we'll just kind of see where the painting goes. I just kind of wanted to test out the paint on this surface. Let me zoom back out here, zoom in, zoom out. So yeah, this is kind of what we came up with, just a little makeshift painting surface. It's pretty stable. It's really good for practicing, working on concepts. On big concepts, if you don't want to work on a little tiny practice canvas, but you don't want to spend, you know, $50 on a big canvas, you can do things like this. You can get some cardboard, get some poster board, glue the poster board to the cardboard, put some gesso on the poster board, and you're pretty much good to start painting. And it's really good just to kind of work on ideas and stuff. So maybe we'll do a little update on this landscape, just kind of see where it goes. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the like, please share this video, and follow me on Instagram, and we'll see you guys later.